Hey dinner table, how you doing today? If you haven't been keeping up with me on Twitch, which by the way you should be, I was extremely obsessed with Tears of the Kingdom. I wrapped up my first playthrough with 180 hours of playtime, 60% completion, give or take, and I really want to talk to you about how it was. And before I say anything else, I'm going to try to keep this video as spoiler-free as possible. All the footage that you're going to see on screen is going to be from the first 10-ish hours of the game, and if I refer to something that's later in the game, I'll try to be as vague as possible. I understand people are still avoiding spoilers, so this video is safe for you. I also really want to apologize if I start to ramble. This script was put together very ad hoc, very much to get all of my raw thoughts down on paper at once. So if I miss anything, I'm super sorry. And this might not be necessary, but at the time of this recording, it's been like a month since I've uploaded, and I'm really sorry. I still put out shorts every day. I still stream 5 days a week. Oh, my meat! But these bigger uploads mean a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that you guys see them because these are my little passion projects. And I've been sitting on this script for a while, and again, really sorry. I'll do my best to not let it happen again. With that all said, let's get into why Tears of the Kingdom is the best game I've ever played. I think what comes to mind above all else when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom is discovery. And I know, boo, that's the appeal of Breath of the Wild. Think harder, boo, dumb, boo, L. And while I do understand that, I do mean something unique when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom. In Breath of the Wild, the great majority of our discovery came from the vast environment that was Hyrule. The hidden pockets of treasure, the fierce enemies, the shrines that you would find in the most high up, secluded locations. All these things felt wonderful and fall under the joy brought about by discovery. But unless you had a keen eye for tinkering, all the game's systems were well understood and flow charted very early in the playthrough of Breath of the Wild. And while even 6 years later you can find a Twitter clip of some amazing interaction between two items in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom puts that level of wonderment, ability to tinker and express yourself in the hands of the players way more upfront. With the hilarious Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts style engineering mechanics, I got to work ASAP. As soon as I got my little Energizer buddies gathered, I was cooking. It was insane. Most of my inventions all served for my convenience transportation. Everyone uses that one hover bike, I promise you they do. But a war machine in between travel never hurt anybody. Well, I mean, realistically, it hurt somebody. It hurt a lot of bokoblins, a lot of boss bokoblins, moblins, gleoks. I digress. This allowed for discovery to not only be an integral part of your exploration of the environment, but in the LEGO Mega Pack you were given to play with. This also applies to Fuse. I'm positive that in my 180 plus hours of playtime, I'm still not super keen on every single Fuse combo. And even in my 180 hours of playtime, it feels amazing to be able to go back and learn things. I still remember when I realized that mushrooms never get spent when fused to the Forest Dweller gear. I've become a mushroom abusing god. I also learned that when shield surfing, one of the fastest way to slide around is on a frozen hunk of meat. Sounds crazy, is true. All this to say that while the idea of exploration is still alive and well on the 3 services that Tears of the Kingdom has to offer, the added element of creation at your fingertips kept my mind drenched on a level that Breath of the Wild could never reach, despite me adoring that title as well. This has to do with the sheer depth and mind that comes to this game's sandbox, and I'm sure that as I write this script, I'm missing another world-altering event happening in the funny video game. The depths of my creativity can only go so far, guys. I'll leave the Hylian Utopia project up to someone else in the community. I'm sure it's gonna happen soon. One of the things that stuck out to me the most when comparing my experience with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom has to do with my sense of reward for exploration. In Breath of the Wild, I feel like the new Zelda sandbox introduced at the time and the ability to explore Hyrule with a microscope was enough to satisfy me, but by comparison with Tears of the Kingdom, it rewards my curiosity way more. The best example of this that I can think of in the game are the old maps. If you're low on amiibos like me, then you'll have a pleasant surprise of being able to find all of the amiibo exclusive armor from Breath of the Wild in-game. The old maps are found in either the sky or the surface, and they point to X marks on the depths map. All of these X marks lead to chest locations which contain weapons, armor, anything that was available via amiibos or DLC from the previous game. And honestly, besides that, I feel even better when I'm exploring the depths. There's no X mark, and I happen upon a really cool piece of armor or a weapon. When I pulled up to one of the depths coliseums and I found Zant's helmet, the experience is unmatched. It felt so cool. Stuff like that just makes my time feel respected. Like I took the time to explore, to really get into the nitty gritty of this world, and I was given my little piece of candy that I didn't even know I was searching for. This rewarding feeling for exploration extends to every new cave, every new Bubble Frog, light route, various hidden bosses around the sky and the underground. It's all a treat. Again, this isn't to say that the exploration in Breath of the Wild did not feel satisfying, but having every destination be so grand makes the journey feel that much better. Now, one of the most heated discussions that I've seen over Tears of the Kingdom is the overall opinion of the game's dungeons. Breath of the Wild had dungeons, sorta, so it was up to Tears of the Kingdom to prove that the open world Zelda format could still offer a satisfying dungeon experience. Now, did they do that? I think for the most part, yeah. The majority of the dungeon experience that I enjoyed in every region was honestly the prep going up to the dungeon. I don't want to spoil it too much, but the Hebrew region, what you do with Tulane, the lead up to that dungeon felt amazing. Honestly, I'd rank the dungeons for you today, but to give proper reasoning, I don't have enough time, and that might be a video that I want to do in the future. Let me know in the comments if that's what you want to see. I don't believe that Tears of the Kingdom touched on exactly what long-standing fans of the franchise wanted in their dungeon experience. However, the return of regional-based theming, variety of bosses, some classic feeling puzzles did do something to satisfy me far over the Breath of the Wild dungeon experience. Now, I won't get the entire universe to agree with me here, but at least in comparison to Breath of the Wild, the way the story was told was phenomenal. The memory storytelling structure may not be super satisfying to some. However, I do think it was done way better than it was done in Breath of the Wild. The biggest change here, I think, was A, having the questline show up way closer to where your natural pathing is, and B, making the memory locations these gigantic paintings on the ground that are almost impossible to miss, forced a lot more players to experience that story as a natural part of their playthrough, as opposed to having to find these hidden nooks and crannies to get an inkling of story out of Breath of the Wild. My only gripe with this structure is the potential for seeing the memories out of order. Now, if you paid proper attention during the Quest of Impa, you can see the intended order of the memories listed for you. However, the way the game's played is open and explorative and not really meant to lock you down. So I think it's very likely that most players saw those memories out of order. That could put a damper on your experience. Mind you can always go back and watch them in order, but it's not the same as your first time, you know? Especially with one of the quest lines showing you the first memory ever a decent ways into the map, I don't think it works as well as they might have intended. They being the dev and story team, by the way. That all is to say, I actually didn't mind finding the memories out of order. Seeing these segments of a past that I didn't get to take a part of and piecing them together in my head and trying to figure out this story more as a mystery rather than being annoyed that I didn't get to see it chronologically at first, I found enjoyable. I found it fun. Now, I may be in the minority with that thought and I may be cringe for it, but if you want to disagree with me, let me know. Just honestly, so long as you disagree with me, please tell me why. I want to have a discussion. Also, the specific stories that you find in each given region and the anomalies affecting them, I really enjoyed that storytelling structure. Got me a lot more involved at the locations I was visiting, especially with the degree of turmoil that some of those regions are put in. That being said, my only real complaint with how the story was told has to do with the end of dungeon dialogue besides one of them, wink wink. It was extremely repetitive. I honestly could have gone without it, or they should have maybe varied up those cutscenes a little bit despite them being given in an order. I'm sure there was a more elegant solution than the one that we got. Also, what I found really cool was connecting the evolving world to each calamitous event that was happening in these regions. I don't, again, want to spoil anything for you, but please, after each dungeon completion, go back to Lookout Landing. Check out what's going on. Might be surprised. Now, again, this video is not meant to be a full review by any means. I just wanted to get out my thoughts and feelings about my fresh out-the-box experience completing the game. And again, when I say completing, I mean 60% of completing. And whenever I decide to do the rest, I'll let you know. But I 100% plan on covering some smaller topics. And if you have a specific topic that you want to hear me talk about, please let me know down in the comments. I read through all of them, I promise you. Yeah, you only read through all of them because your channel's small. Shut up. Shut up. I streamed my entire playthrough over on twitch.tv/dinnerpants. Links in bio. If you ever want to come hang out, you're welcome to. And if you want to see more Zelda or anything from me, feel free to like this video, share it with a friend, hit the noti bell and subscribe if you like my content. If you don't, you can even tell me. I don't mind. At the end of the day, the journey was beautiful and I can't wait to talk with y'all more about it. I love all of you. Have an amazing time zone wherever you are. See you soon and deuces. And if this isn't Game of the Year, I'm gathering the community and marching on Jeff Keighley's lawn. I promise you.